Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin and with me today are...
Jake.
Chris.
And Ames.
And we are here, as we are every week, to discuss some episodes of A Star Trek. And this is episode 107.
Woo!
When we will be discussing Silicon Avatar, or Silicon Avatar, whatever, and Disaster. I don't know why. In Silicon Avatar... The Enterprise is orbiting around Melona 4.
No, the Enterprise isn't even there.
Fuck!
Riker's there.
Oh, is it just him?
Yeah, because the Enterprise is far away.
Oh, and Data's there too. Alright, let me try again. Because he's the one that recommends they go in the caves. I'm gonna start over. Ready?
In Silicon Avatar.
Right. It's Silicon Avatar. Riker and Data are hanging out on Melona 4, and they accidentally become amateur spelunkers, not in the way Riker was hoping.
He
wanted to explore the opening of Carmen Davila's cave. But, they do some cave diving after the Crystalline Entity reappears and fucks shit up. Turns out they managed to survive because of some metals in the cave, but that's not important right now. After, the one thing that is important, however, is that the piece of ass that Riker was going after unfortunately passed away during the attack. Jesus Christ.
Passed away.
Yeah, wow. Anyway.
Passed away is putting it very mildly. She was vaporized.
She died horribly.
Whilst saving an old man.
I mean, it was
That's a waste, isn't it?
It was probably painless. So, there's that.
No, I like to think that actually it's like the Silac pit. What is the fuck
Sarlacc.
It's called? Tanky Kang. It's actually it's like the Sarlacc pit. How you've been horrible digesting pain for 1,000 years. That's actually how it was for her. Anyway, so they return.
Sounds like the critter's tongue, right? Lapping her up to eat her.
Like
Laser
Riker was
tongue.
gonna do.
Like Riker was gonna do and go spelunking.
Anyway.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Let's just get through the thing.
I practiced this earlier, and it's still going.
that's what's wrong.
You didn't practice with our sass, though.
That's what's
true.
wrong.
All right. Anyway, they go back up to the Enterprise, and they're like, "Holy shit, Crystalline Entity!" Luckily, though, luckily in scare quotes, Kylo Ren, who is a xenobiologist who is a Crystalline Entity expert, shows up.
Kylo Ren. That sounds right.
Yeah, Kylo Moore. And she goes down to the planet Melona 4 with Data to see what she can see. She's apparently done a lot of...
Being racist to Data.
Wow, yes, but she's done a lot of examining of Crystalline Entity attack sites, and she wants to see what this one looks like since it's so fresh. Yeah, she is a total bitch to Data for no reason that I can comprehend. But it comes to light that she's actually interested in the Crystalline Entity because her son was killed on Omicron Theta, where she abandoned him to chase after her dream job. And
What was her dream job?
Being science.
Being
science. That sounds right.
And
Kylo Ren.
she starts being a lot nicer to Data when she finds out that he has a lot of memories saved from the people on that planet, because he also has voice diary journal recordings of her son. So she starts being his best friend and luring him to her whatever
bedroom
room. What do they call it though? Quarters. Thank you.
Let me put you in this gown, Data. This is the gown my son wore at the
christening.
At the tea party I threw for him for his first tea day.
Oh God! And she's like, Data, play me his journals, and he does, and she masturbates furiously.
This is taking a turn.
Jocasta. Anyway.
Jocasta. Oh dear.
Jocasta. However, they're like, wait a minute, the Crystalline Entity is maybe intelligent, and we should try to communicate with it. Oh, great idea, Picard. The big fucking murderous monster face, and you want to fucking talk with it? Asshole. Everyone thinks it's a bad idea, including Riker, but
I think it's a great idea.
Kyla Marr decides to play along, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll help you figure out a way to do that. Yeah, wrong. She figures out a way to kill the shit out of the Crystalline Entity, and they're all like, no, you killed it. And then they're like, go back to your room, you dumb bitch. And Data's like, don't worry, Mom, I'll take you. And then she's like, tell me my son wouldn't be mad at me. And Data's like, no, actually, he would have fucking hated that you did this, bitch. And then I think they have some kind of weird hate sex. I don't really know. We don't get to see that.
I don't get to
sadly.
see that.
The only one that has hate sex is Picard.
Do you really want to see... I don't know. I bet Riker has some hate sex.
With Picard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Picard's still involved. And then in Disaster, really should have been called Disasters because this episode is full of disasters.
A lot of
First
disaster.
and foremost, the biggest disaster is that there are 3 precocious children on board, and Picard has to give them a tour of the ship.
Lesson.
But none of the cool parts of the ship, just like the fucking terrarium and like...
hallway.
Yeah, not the bridge.
Chief O'Brien's brown eye.
Oh, they're like, cool, can we go to the battle bridge? And he's like, no, you little fucks. And and they all, the reason they're on the ship is because they like won a science fair in primary school. Yeah, one of them like checked out some radishes, and one of them like threw some shit in water and was like, "Look, I made Nesquik."
I made a volcano out of vinegar.
Vinegar and baking soda. And Picard's like, yes.
All right, fine. We're going to the box factory.
Listening to him like be impressed with them was great. He was like, yes, truly important work. What did you do?
My expectations are so much higher with all Wesley's experiments. If these kids are like, look, I did a crayon drawing. Fuck you, kids.
Man,
my God, I missed the boy.
Never thought I'd say that. The second disaster, which is like a close second, I mean like a really close second, is apparently Keiko and O'Brien decided reproducing was a great idea. I don't think it was O'Brien. Do you think she was just poking holes in the space condoms?
No, I think she had an affair, but go on.
Oh, shit.
With Worf.
No, because somebody was like, it looks just like Chief O'Brien.
Yeah.
But Worf is the one who said that. Oh, my God.
Doesn't it look like Chief... It's even got Chief O'Brien's distinctive head rings.
I mean, alternately, it could just be all humans look alike to Worf.
And all babies look like Miles O'Brien, so there's that.
No, all babies look like
Well,
Winston
that's
Churchill.
really offensive to babies. Babies are generally ugly when they're born. I'm sorry. I know that that's not a popular... At this table, it might be a popular opinion.
Well, no, when they're newborn.
Oh, they're disgusting.
They look like they had the shit kicked out of them in a boxing match.
Was this one... I know I was complaining to you about babies and umbilical cords. Was that this episode?
I looked away and screamed for 5 minutes.
But yeah, once
was like really real. Like that umbilical cord was gross. It was covered in blood. I was like, hot.
Let's get back to it in a minute. But
done cooking, they look like Winston Churchill.
Ding.
Like all babies, just put a little...
Or Elmer Fudd.
But it depends on how big their forehead is.
Okay, so here's what just happened. She said Elmer Fudd, and I almost went BBDBDB, which is not what Elmer Fudd says.
No, that's Tweaky.
But it is Mel Blanc.
True.
Blanc.
All right. We'll
anyway, enough about
Looney
Looney
in a
Tunes.
minute.
Yeah, and what else happens? There's like a radiation breach that happens.
Too much.
Oh, but... The third biggest disaster, which again is a close third, is Troy, O'Brien, and Ensign Rowe get stuck together in like a tiny room. And
the bridge?
Yes.
Tiny bridge.
A tiny bridge. One Riker, one tiny bridge. Anyway.
There was another dude on the bridge.
He got
Oh,
killed.
yeah.
He didn't get
No, there were
much.
2. One got killed, the other
Yeah,
survived.
there was a lady that got killed.
There was a
and
lady
dude.
who could act, but she
And
died.
they got rid of her real quick.
Because she could act.
We can't have women
Do a
showing
death
us up,
scene.
can we? Anyway, the point is, who gives a fuck about that other guy or that girl that died? O'Brien, Troy, and Ensign Rowe are on the bridge, FUCKINGing up the whole fucking thing, and they put Troy in charge for some reason. Something,
Commander.
senior officer, something.
It's the chain of command, man.
And
somehow, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Chain of command, man. And basically, it's a snarky fight to the snarky death between Ensign Rowe, who seems to know what the fuck she's doing, and Troy, who doesn't even seem to be sensing anything, except that there might be someone in the rest of the ship. Good guess, you asshole.
Good empathing.
Nice empathing, for real.
To make things worse, the ship is about to explode.
I sense that it's 1 degree cooler in here than it usually is. Down by the radiation explodey bits are Geordi and Crusher being really forgettable, because when we first talked about this, I totally forgot they were even in this episode. I was like, yeah, Bev's not in this episode at all. They should have made her the chief officer, and you guys were like, she was in it.
I really liked Bev's scene.
Her and Geordi. Yeah, I just wasn't really paying attention, I guess. I don't know. What else is new?
When Data loses his head.
Yeah, that's right, with Riker. So which is also a disaster, but,
That
So-
body, how are they going to get a new body for him?
They'll just fix the existing
Can I
one.
keep the old one?
Only if it has, like, some kind of... You have to have a remote control so you can make it fuck.
I'd like to imagine that while his body was being repaired, he just tooted around the Enterprise with his head in a little car like Bender did in that one episode of Futurama.
Bodies are for prostitutes and fat people.
Hookers and fat people.
Hookers and fat people, whatever. They prefer the term sex workers, okay?
Well,
Sex
yes, but this is
robots.
Bender. He is a crass, uncaring jerk.
Sax workers.
Anyway,
Yikes.
Data saves the day.
That sounded more like a trumpet, but...
yeah, I know. I don't know what a saxophone sounds like. I can't read.
It sounds like it's awful.
It's a joke I can read.
That's an awful.
Just barely. In spite of his broken cankle, Picard manages to climb up a elevator shaft with the kiddos. Keiko pushes out a baby, and we discover that Worf actually has a pretty good bedside manner.
We do.
But that's because it's his
And
kid. It makes more sense since it's his kid.
At work.
Geordi and Bev manage to, move some shit before it explodes. And Riker takes Data's head off and plugs him into a computer,
Saving the day.
I guess. I'm a little unclear on that part.
Data
really
did all
stopped
the
paying
work.
attention.
Yeah.
Because I honestly just found it, I liked the setup of Disaster, but I found it kind of forgettable in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The thing is, I
Too
think
much ended up happening.
We'll get to it,
Yeah.
because it's all individual plot lines, and very, very few of them have any impact on the other ones.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's classic... I know we're jumping, but, it's classic TNG. You're shoving too much plot into this episode. It's not necessary. You could have done half now and half later. But first, friends, countrymen, we have to get through Silicon Avatar, which, holy fuck,
So-
what a creepy piece of shit that was.
I just want to read off my first handful of notes about this episode.
Before you do you mind if I crack open this ice-cold Coca-Cola?
No, please do.
Is that a Coca-Cola classic?
Yes,
Original-
original taste.
Original taste.
Oh.
Oh, notice that they don't call it Coca-Cola Classic anymore. They just call it Coca-Cola, but they say original taste.
Well, it's because, the fine folks at the Coca-Cola Corporation know what the kids want. Contact us for sponsorship. So my first handful of notes, as I took them, I envied you. No, you fucking don't, and that school marm is calling you on it.
What? What was this in reference to?
The very opening of the episode where Riker says he envies the colony people.
For what?
Oh, yeah.
Getting
He's
to
like, oh, you're
form a
wayward
colony.
spirit and,
Yeah.
putting down roots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was so just trying to get into her pants.
Yeah,
I
he
want to
likes to-
sniff your butthole.
But now
He likes
there's...
to lay down roots, all right,
Yeah.
but only
I want to
briefly.
get a whiff of your clams.
So
Yikes.
next, Riker, she can see right through you, you fucking dog.
But she's still into it.
For some reason. This is the least sexy flirting in history.
Want
I
to come
hate-
back to my tent for some rations?
Yeah. I hate this scene. Send help. Oh shit, the Crystalline Entity.
Thank God.
I want this to somehow be Riker's boner's fault. Oh yeah, please let her get zapped.
Oh,
And then in all caps, fuck yes, best episode ever. That opening sequence legitimately had me uncomfortable after a while. I don't know who wrote it, but I hope they have to register with the state and warn their neighbors that they wrote that scene. It's just so unpleasant.
I didn't even remember it being that bad. I mean, it was ham-handed and annoying,
just-
but it wasn't uncomfortable.
yeah,
It
he's
gave
the
me
least. He's the
super
least
creeps.
subtle man.
Yeah,
he
no, it was
basically
terrible.
could have said, "Hi, my name is Riker. I'll be plowing you this evening."
But they knew each other, didn't they?
And
They
she
were
was
old friends
I
or
don't
something.
know about
weren't
that.
they?
I think they just met on that trip.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Well, she,
I think he just
But-
kind of been there for a bit.
like,
helping
Riker
her.
is such a slut. I love it.
But she was like, oh, I have the best dessert. The dessert is my vagina.
Yeah, no, it was like...
oh, yeah,
What did
that's
she
right.
put in
There
it?
was a...
Chocolate?
No, you get
No, that's how you get
a
Troy.
yeast infection. Don't
No,
do
don't they
that.
make like edible lube that tastes like chocolate though? That won't give you a yeast infection.
Yeah, but you think it actually tastes good?
I don't know. I've never had it.
I'll say this. It probably doesn't taste as good as all natural pussy would.
I got an ejaculating
Yikes.
dildo.
Yeah, no, I
You can use my ovipositor on my
No.
beehole.
I was genuinely very happy when she was vaporized because Riker was sad.
Oh,
Also-
yeah, fill me
also-
with your little butthole babies.
Speaking of things we can stuff up Carmen's area, the colony doesn't have a replicator?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
no,
I
apparently.
feel like colonies should immediately have replicators.
Yeah, that
because
should be-
otherwise, where are they getting their supplies?
You
Thing
think
one.
that was like thing one, yeah?
Like, shuttlecrafts have replicators.
Yeah, but you also got to have, like, a power supply and...
That's the first thing you build.
Just, listen, she's...
Is the first thing the replicator or the power supply?
Well, I mean, it's SimCity, right? You build the power supply, then the next thing you build is the replicator.
I get the
swallow
impression...
the spider to get the fly.
I get the impression they just got there that day.
Oh, really?
No, see, I was under the impression they'd kind of been there for a while.
Well, I thought she and Riker were old friends.
Well, they were being given stuff and getting set up.
Well, where were they sleeping?
See, I think the
Enterprise
was like the reason why they know each other is because they were already doing a little bang on the Enterprise because the Enterprise was ferrying the colonists.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like when What's-Her-Fuck got her bang on with the Trill guy.
Yeah, and then the Enterprise left a bunch of people, including Riker and Data and everyone, to go do something else for a few
and they
days.
left Crusher, too, to point a place to put the hospital.
Yeah.
Thanks, Crusher.
She was super necessary for that. It's like, shouldn't we have, like, I don't know, a geologist who would actually be able to study the composition of the...
Nope.
How about a power supply and a replicator?
But here's what's ridiculous, though, about just the colonization effort in general. So there was nothing. There was no structures. Why wouldn't the Federation just have, like, prefab structures that they just
that is an excellent
sent
question.
over on like a drone ship or something?
That's a good question.
To get like, you could just like
get them started.
Just drop a city from space and then put people in it.
I mean, you could even have a colony ship where the whole thing is at like land.
It's like a transformer. It unfolds.
Well, doesn't even have to.
I like that idea.
Or like those mattresses that are foam and they just kind of like
like the ship like it's like a dome and then the dome opens. And the city.
It doesn't even necessarily have to transform. It's sort of like an apartment.
It has to transform
until they can build other things.
It needs to at least roll out. Can we all agree?
Sure.
Yes.
Plus, then you've got a huge power source built in because you've got the whole goddamn warp array, which you don't need since you're not going to warp anymore.
Better
we are
at Starfleet than Starfleet is.
I also now want there to be a Star Trek Sim City, and one of the natural disasters that can happen is Crystalline Entity.
That's
great. My god!
Oh my god, that's so
what
good.
Else could happen?
Someone take this idea and make it happen.
Romulan attack.
Devil.
Oh yeah, Ardra shows up.
Devil returning to take all your shit.
Ardra, that devil. Sorry, I thought Devil in the Dark.
No.
No, that'd be good too. The Horda
can show up.
Weakening the whole building just goes through the ground because the
brilliant.
Now Horda is a silicon avatar.
True.
True. Oh, that's right.
Well, in this case, Data
not
is
carbon
the
based
avatar.
Yes, I get it because he's an avatar for the child.
Yes.
The stupid,
so
stupid
fucking gross.
Child.
It was really upsetting.
I don't think she wanted to fuck him.
Yeah,
no, I know. It just was creepy. I didn't like it.
She was just.
If the kid were still alive, he'd be like 50 by now.
Yeah, but you know why she's sad and lonely?
Data's
26.
Didn't he say?
Well, now he's 31.
I thought he said he had 20. Yeah, he had 29 years of Starfleet experience as of redemption.
Okay.
So he's in Starfleet for 29 years.
Okay, the kid was 16 when he died.
Was he 16?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say Data's 31.
Yeah.
And the kid was 16.
He'd be
so
47.
They'd be 40. Okay, so I was close.
Okay, but
so how old is this lady? See, I assumed he was a kid, like a young kid.
No, they said he said he was in high school when
the
he
last
talked about
time
his
she
tests
saw
in
him.
sports.
Here's the thing: I don't feel bad for her being old and lonely because she literally was like, "Nah, popped out a kid. Don't really feel like dealing with it. Bye, son.
I have science to do."
Well, it sounded like she just, bringing him along for her adventures as a scientist
was she
not
performing experiments on him?
Maybe.
I hope so.
Well, she said she left him with friends.
That's what you have kids for.
Like, that's an okay thing,
That
I think.
seems right, yeah.
If you're like an Antarctic scientist...
Yeah, you don't want to bring a baby.
You're not bringing your baby. You're saying, hey, mom and dad, can you watch the kid for a little while I go and live my life?
Yeah.
And then
but you're supposed to not have babies when you still want to live your life. That's like rule number 1, isn't it? Is not have babies if you're going to try to go live your life.
Or dogs sometimes. Dogs take up a lot of time.
Yeah, they're pain in the ass.
I love dogs. I could never have a dog.
I could. I love dogs.
I'm such a fucking child.
I like
What did you do?
One of my notes is just Fistrium.
Fistrium.
Shut up.
Sounds like...
Man,
you were just thinking of Jake, weren't you?
Man, I think I found the source of the bitchrium. Oh! In reference to Dr. Mass or whatever her name is.
Ass. Kylo
I believe,
Ren?
actually, one of my notes in here specifically says, look, I can make Jake jokes sometimes. Shut up.
Nice.
I did like when they were running from the Crystalline Entity. That's not the whole joke. The car was carrying a kid. No, Riker was carrying a kid around and notices, his girlfriend's about to get eaten by a monster, and not in the good way. And he just hands the kid off to Data. And I wrote, I didn't know you could play hot potato with a child.
You can, in some states.
It's a good thing nobody in that thing was, like, handicapped or anything.
Why did they bring a child if the colony isn't set up yet?
Is there any like physically disabled in the future?
There is a
that?
good chance the Federation practices
eugenics.
Yeah.
Gross. I just meant
they
like
gave Jordy a visor.
I just figured they figured out a way to not unparalyze you or something. I didn't mean that they were breeding you out.
Jameson?
That's fucked up.
Well,
Jameson's
Jameson,
in a wheelchair.
he was just really freaking old.
Professor X wheelchair. Yeah, I think we're supposed to assume that their medicine is just super good.
That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't expect anyone to be in a wheelchair. And I honestly wouldn't expect someone in a wheelchair with limited mobility to be, like, first on the list of, like, colonizing a
hostile planet.
Well,
Yeah,
a wheelchair. He was just old.
No, we're not talking
He's saying
about
that they wouldn't
I'm
send,
saying you wouldn't
they wouldn't
send
send somebody in a
necessarily...
wheelchair to colonize the
That's
planet.
true.
Right, because, like, what I mean, I'm not, like, no, wait. Nope. I'm being ableist. You
Yes,
totally
you
might,
are.
because they could be like a fucking amazing scientist or any of those things, but I just feel like if there are no wheelchair ramps and shit there to, like, make it easier for them to get around, it would be difficult. That's what I'm saying.
You just keep Data around to carry him.
I thought you were going to say keep digging. I was like, I'm digging! Help! Send help!
So the reason why Dr. Marr was so bitchy to Data at the beginning was because she knew that it was Lure who lured the
entity to kill her kid.
Kill her kid. So she assumes that Data is of the same ilk.
Also bad. Well, she shouldn't assume, because you know what happens.
Here's my question about that, unless you want to... We're bringing up...
Well, the only thing I was going to say is that considering Data and Lore switched...
yes,
back
obviously.
Well, did they switch...
Brothers?
Did they switch back in Brothers? Because they switched in... They first switched...
In Data Lore?
In Data Lore. They might have switched back in Brothers.
They randomly switched in The Best of Both Worlds. Just remotely.
Yeah.
No, but my question is, if Mar is such an expert in the Crystalline Entity, and she knows Data is a critter that survived, that was there when the Crystalline Entity attacked, why has she never questioned Data before?
Excellent question.
And I know there's an actual, like, very interesting thing where she talks about, no one has ever survived the Crystalline Entity attack. And I'm thinking, why not Data? And it's, because you probably don't consider him alive. And then at the end, there's a really lovely twist where she says, as long as you're alive, my son's still alive. Because now she considers Data, I don't know, her son. Something. Rennie.
Which, I love that all of a sudden we're referencing that he has the memories of the colonists again for the first time since I think season
Yeah, it's been
1.
a while, hasn't it?
It's like, so this is a thing again now for this episode?
Oh, you're quoting something that this scientist never recorded. Why haven't you recorded it, Data? Fuck you. I love you, but fuck you.
So they say that the entire planet was stripped of all life, everything down to microbes.
Yep.
Yet, when they show the planet, it looked like there were, like, some stripped trees. Are those, like, just burned wood? Because it looked like
Flash fossil?
It looked like the damn thing was just vaporizing stuff. So in my estimation, it should just look like a desert.
Yeah.
It should just be, like, dirt and rock.
Listen, the critter didn't clean his plate.
Something oak don't croak?
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's like black don't crack.
And, like, what about, like, any kind of material that was under the surface? Was it only at the surface level that he drill in?
That is unclear.
Well, he didn't get through
He didn't get to drill in.
That's Riker you're thinking of.
Yes.
That is Riker I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he was looking for some of that fistulate.
Oy.
Unrelated. I was poking around the memory alphas, and the woman who played Kylo Ren was the daughter of the woman who played Picard's mother in Where No One Has Gone Before.
Oh. I did not poke that far in the memory alpha. That's fun.
Really has nothing to do with anything, but I just,
No, it's cool. They, just like Jocasta, they like to keep it in the family in Star Trek.
I liked Kyla Mar, though. I thought she had a very interesting character arc. Like, she starts off, like, when she learns the Crystalline Entity was here, I'm so excited that, can I question the families and probably freak them out by how interested and exuberant I am about this?
Yeah, I kind of
was... Hey, I know your family was killed. Tell me all about it.
I was kind of off-put by how, like, no one was like, hey, your excitement seems super inappropriate right now. You wanna dial it back, Doc?
We just watched a woman and an old man die.
And an entire planet is,
that
like,
could have been
unlivable.
It could have been our colony. If we had a replicator there, it would have been destroyed. So luckily, we didn't have any.
I would have had to fill out insurance
replicator's
claims
alive
forms.
now? Replicator wouldn't be destroyed.
Well, no, but it's more valuable than certain lives.
I was going to say than human life generally. Probably, yes.
Certainly more valuable than Troy.
Wow.
I actually have a note.
You'll change your tune when we get to disaster, and she... Never mind.
I have a note in here where, like, I forget what exactly it was, but... Oh, yeah, where she was like, I don't think you need an empath to know how she feels. My note is just, fuck you, Troy. Stating the fucking obvious has never stopped you before, you grimy bitch.
You grimy bitch.
Yeah, there's a
grimy. There's just something about that. I'm sorry, Ames. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a point later when we're looking at the Crystalline Entity, and I'm just
Entity.
Fuck you 9 times. And I'm thinking, Troy should try to sense what's going on with the Crystalline Entity, and she's just there, and I'm thinking, and I wrote down like, what do you sense, Troy? Nothing. Okay.
I'm just picturing her do that sound. She's just sitting there on the bridge going.
What do you sense, Troy? I sense a snowflake. No, you're just describing what it looks like. I sense a giant space snowflake.
It's like, oh God, what's that movie? Is it Mean Girls?
Never seen it.
The girl claims that she can tell the weather from her breasts, and she goes outside and it's raining, and she's like, she grabs her boobs and goes, there's a 70% chance it's raining right now, and it's clearly raining. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. That's how Troy is.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Including the grabbing her boobs.
She uses her boobs to tell the current weather conditions.
We're getting her in a sensible uniform soon, right? Is that this season?
No, that's not until Chain of Command.
What's Chain of Command?
Is that next? That's season 6, I think, right?
It might be this season.
No, it's not this season. I checked. I looked at all of season 5 to see
Ames has that shit memorized.
To see what's going to be on my good list this season, because I know there's a lot of good stuff this season. And I know I love Chain of Command, and it is not this season.
Yeah, because Captain Jellicoe is a stickler for decorum.
Yeah, I thought that.
But not dem titties.
You know who loved them titties? Rennie. When Data's telling Mommy, like, he had all these feelings about this girl. He really liked her physical attributes.
Ames, my note from that sequence, she had, in his words, great cans. So we both had the same thing.
He liked her fart pillows.
She had some tiggled bitties.
He described them as banging. Sorry, bangin'.
Yikes.
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't read that journal entry in Rennie's voice. I wanked it last night for 45 minutes straight. It's red.
I hope no one ever reads this journal entry to my mom.
In my voice. Somehow.
My foreskin is so swollen it looks like a water balloon.
Oh, we've gone there again, I see.
Foreskin water balloons?
So anyway, Picard wants to talk to the Crystalline Entity, which is basically exactly what happened in, I forget the name of the TAS episode, where we did the Vulcan mind meld with a cloud thing.
Yeah.
And decided, this is how you ask it nicely to stop murdering.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's
then it understands.
Was it like pain? The one that was saying pain.
It was
a TAS episode.
Hear me! Listen to me! We are one! We're doing this thing!
I'm trying to find you!
Oh, it's also like the Horda. The Horda was the same deal.
Yeah. Stop murdering people.
Sorry,
I didn't realize I was.
Sorry, I'm fucking up all your shit,
Here, have
guys.
all these cuttlefish that
Although,
Picard
I guess the
referencing.
Horda is different, because the Horda was defending its nest.
Yeah. This thing is just hungry.
Yeah.
Hungry.
And I kind of I liked Picard's argument that it has as much right to be here as
Prime Directive,
as we
maybe
do,
a little bit.
And we can't hold it as it's just doing what's natural for it. But then again,
like a cuttlefish,
it knew that here's why I don't buy it. I don't buy it because we know that it is possible to communicate with it because Lore can talk to it.
Lore did.
Lore can just straight up talk to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And tell it, hey,
Let's
when
go
I
fuck some
beam this
shit
tree into space, that's the signal. The shields will be down, and then you can attack the ship and kill everybody. So the thing totally knows what's up.
But it also was told it was a good idea to do that, so maybe it's like, kill all humans.
How have there only been 11 documented cases of this thing attacking?
Because the universe is huge.
Yeah, and the number of inhabited planets is probably still relatively small.
And, there are never that many ships in the quadrant. You know
Did it
what I mean?
also decimate a lot of planets that never got recorded, maybe?
Probably.
Yeah, like places that just were uninhabited by...
What a great opportunity for Genesis testing. If you needed a dead world...
Go to somewhere the Crystalline Entity has been.
In reality, it's for the best for everyone that the Crystalline Entity was destroyed. Because if it hadn't been...
It was pretty.
And Picard reported back like, yes, I figured out how to communicate with it so it won't attack inhabited worlds anymore. Immediately, some admiral would just get a huge boner and be like, I bet I can use it to murder!
Or sex. There's gotta be sex involved.
Yikes.
Maybe both. But yeah, it'd be like he tried to sick it on the Romulans or something.
Well, they deserve it.
Well, here's what I'm imagining, right? So we saw it explode into a billion pieces. Mm-hmm. Each of those pieces is a part of a crystal. And as if you know anything about crystallization...
Oh, yes, they're all the same, right?
It's that a crystal will grow. Like, if you have a crystal, like a sugar crystal, and you put it in a super...
Like sugar candy.
Like rock candy,
Yeah, like
right?
rock candy.
So if you take... So you take a grain of sugar, which is just a tiny sugar crystal, and you put it into a sugar-saturated solution, the crystal will form around that structure.
Yum.
So if you then take that formed crystal, smash it into a bunch more crystals, and put that into more sugar solution, you will have a shitload more giant crystals. So my thinking here is, she didn't kill the Crystalline Entity. She split it into billions of tiny crystalline entities that are going to grow up to be big and scary and decimate the galaxy.
And that's the plot of the new Picard series.
Yes.
Yay! That's a good one.
I can't wait for that
and
show.
it'll be pissed off.
Yeah, rightly so.
This time it's personal.
It'll be like, last time you tried to talk to me, I was all willing to chat, and you went and blew me up.
Kerploded.
Ooh, the computer graphics for the Crystalline Entity are going to be good now. I mean, they're still good, but they're going to be really good.
Yeah, no, for the time,
Yeah. Like, even Mara looks at it and says, oh, it's so pretty. Let me boop this button to kill it. Boop, boop, boop. Now I'm going to act catatonic for
Love
no
that,
reason.
like, Data waited for an order
bang me
to try to stop it. Like, it would have been a moot point because she, like, had put in, like, a restriction, but no one even tried. It's like, Data, you're right there. Something's clearly wrong.
You're right here.
And how can any old bozo put a computer lockout?
Bojo.
How can any old bojo put a lockout on the computer?
Because there is no fucking security in the
That's
future.
true.
Well,
there is, because you can do a lockout.
True, but they don't choose to use it.
So what they need is to take out the lockout function if they're going to leave it open, because if they leave it open, some jerkwad's going to show up, lock it out.
They're all just too trusting. Somewhere deep in the bowels of the ship is the Enterprise IT guy who is just always on the verge of an aneurysm because no one does anything he tells them to.
So basically what you're saying is in the next 400 years, IT is not going to change a bit.
No, they're going to be deeply frustrated by users.
Same IT guy. Have you tried turning it off and on?
Like, you could have a Vulcan IT guy and they'd finally just snap.
You were supposed to have no emotions.
Start using fucking Vulcan neck-breaking techniques.
Tall Cheyenne.
There it is.
So I got a tinfoil hat theory.
I love the
about this computer situation, this lockout. I don't think Dr. Mar knew how to do a lockout. But you know who does know how to do a lockout?
Data.
And knows how to do it damn well. Dater.
And he's got Rennie's mind inside of him.
I think
which is creepy and weird.
Dater went ahead and either at her behest or volunteered
at Rennie's behest
to as sort of an amends making move for his brother's actions, went out and set up that computer lockup. Because I don't think, they do make it a point earlier in the episode of having Geordi say like, "Oh, you really know your way around that computer," but I think that's bullshit because she holds a tricorder upside down. I
noticed that.
So I don't think she knows shit.
No. She just had, maybe her vision is different, like Geordi's visor, and everything she sees is upside down.
Could be. Could be.
Or maybe,
But if that was the case, it would... Maybe everything we see is upside down.
She's holding the tricorder like this, and she's like, "Boy, these rocks appear to be made out of human flesh, and they have a heartbeat. Oh my god!"
His tricorder screens, like modern cell phones, just have.
It rotates.
Yeah, so you can hold it upside down and still reading upright. You just have to get used to where the buttons are. But that's how she prefers to hold it.
Oh, that could be.
I don't think so.
No, it was just a fuck up.
She just sucks.
Yeah.
Also,
she's a dumb.
She does suck. It's true.
Also, Data is a way better empath than Troy because he's able to say at the end, "I feel like your son wouldn't say that," or "I think your son."
A motherfucking rock is a better empath than Troy.
It's true.
Data, as a matter of fact, is a motherfucking rock.
That's true.
Silicon is a rock, after all.
There we go.
Wow.
There you go.
Well done.
And he fucked Rennie's mother.
Many times.
Overall, though, I expected this, from the start to just be another "let's be racist to Data" episode. But
yeah, me too.
I did like where it went with it.
Yeah,
I love seeing a Crystalline Entity because it's very pretty and it's fun and it kills people.
And it ruined Riker's day, which amused me because that whole scene.
Cock blocking Crystalline Entity.
Really,
I don't think it was Data that called the Crystalline Entity. I think it was Troy that called it.
What'd she call it?
She called it up. She said, "Hey, Crystalline, what's up? It's me, Troy.
If Riker is about to get some, could you go take care of that for me?"
There's this bitch.
That conniving bitch.
There's this bitch on a planet.
Told you she was grimy.
Grimy is such a fucking great word. I don't know why you say grimy about Troy, but I love it. It's wrong, but I enjoy it.
In high school, people were grimy. I don't actually know what it means.
Grimy means dirty.
No, but I don't know what it means in a slang term. It could mean something else. I might be using it completely wrong.
People, when you were in high school, people said grimy?
Yeah, they would describe others as being grimy.
Was it in reference to the Simpsons episode?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not.
What Simpsons episode?
The one with Frank Grimes. You wouldn't know it.
I wouldn't, because I don't know any of them, but I wanted to ask anyways, because Simpsons.
It's a famous episode.
Yeah, I just haven't seen a lot of Simpsons. Since I was a kid. I used to watch it when it was on when I was, very young, but... So
moving on from Troy being a terrible empath in this episode...
To Troy being
a terrible empath in the next episode?
Commanding officer?
Oh my god. Yeah. How do you get to be the rank of Lieutenant Commander in Starfleet? Evidently, you don't need any command experience whatsoever.
Well, she does have great big credentials.
Yeah.
I was gesturing towards my breasts in a great big track of land way.
I love how basically it's like when O'Brien is explaining to Ro that she has the rank of Lieutenant Commander. I feel like even the way Colmini delivered it, it was kind of like the unspoken part was, yeah, I can't fucking believe it either.
Well, when you say he doesn't say she's a Lieutenant Commander, she's the ranking officer, because she carries the rank of Lieutenant Commander, which is she's technically Lieutenant Commander.
Can't she hand off command to somebody else if she wanted to?
Well, I think she might.
Yeah, if she wanted to.
And I feel as though, given that she clearly has no command experience and no knowledge of ship's operations, she should have been you know what? This is not the time for me to test out my skills.
I know. What was the thing that happened where she was like, I don't know what such and such is, and O'Brien and Ro look at her like, it's this.
She didn't know that a containment breach
was bad.
Would cause the ship to explode. Which, how do you serve... You don't have to be an engineer.
Chris, can you do the... That's why. That's why she doesn't know.
On a
the children trapped in the turbo shaft in the card know that better than she does.
Yeah,
and they know only things about radishes.
Now, she also... Now, I don't want to shit on Troy all episode because...
There's so many things to shit on.
There's a lot to shit on. And so we're going to start with Troy and move on to other things.
I also do think that... So, Dr. Crusher, for example, I believe... I don't know if this has been mentioned, but eventually it's mentioned that Dr. Crusher is a commander. So she outranks
Troy.
She's the same rank as Riker.
Okay.
On paper. And, there's a future episode I don't want to get too far ahead here, but there is a future episode where Crusher is commanding the bridge just because she likes to do that and because she can. And Troy is like, oh, I'd like to do that someday. So Troy goes to Riker.
She's had such a bad experience with it.
She goes to Riker and she's like, man, remember when I took command during the disaster and I totally fucked up? I'd like to learn how to actually do this. And Riker's like, well, let me give you the test, which she fails.
I remember that episode.
It was a good episode.
I like to imagine, though, like, I don't remember the finer points, but I'd like to imagine when she said to Crusher, like, oh, I'd like to do that someday. Crusher just laughed for 15 minutes straight.
Yeah.
I sense you're laughing, but I don't know why.
Let's just go do some yoga, okay? That's more your speed.
Put on your leotard.
Oh, sweetie, that's cute.
The point is, yeah, I think...
Really, her thing should have been, remember that time in Disaster where all those disasters happened? I want to never be in charge for those again.
I like the idea that somehow in universe they know the episode titles. Remember that time in Disaster?
I think...
God, something with the kids.
I think that, honestly, I think between the random dude at Ops and...
Oh, he was terrible.
And
Monroe who died?
Well, no. I was going to say that random Ops dude and O'Brien and Roe could have very... Like, if they just had, 5 minutes alone, Roe could be like, hey, let's just mutiny and take command and we'll get this shit taken care of.
I think dead Monroe would have been better than Troy.
Well, yeah, Monroe was a lieutenant. Monroe would have been...
Even while dead, though.
Dead Monroe sounds like some really gross sex act.
So we don't see...
I was going to say it sounds like a bad...
So we don't see the corpse of Monroe after that
That's
first
like the
shot.
dead Kennedys.
I think they just shoved her into the bathroom.
I think they've just been stepping over her the whole time.
No, I love the idea that they shoved her in the bathroom and then forgot her there, and then
somebody goes to the bathroom a couple days later.
One of the children it falls on Radish Kid and traumatizes him for life.
Good, that fucking Radish Kid.
Yeah, I hated him. But yes, by rights, she should have just handed command over to O'Brien, who was the next highest rank.
Because I can imagine they don't trust Roe yet because she's new and has a lot of weird
history.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I probably will say this last week as well, but Roe is...
Will have said.
Yes. I probably will have said this.
No one has any idea what order we
Time travel.
But
Wales,
because I know, because I want to talk about Roe a lot, and I know that I will talk about her last week as well.
We'll talk about her last week.
But I really this is the first episode with Roe is an introductory episode, and you could kind of imagine that she's just a one-off character for an episode, like what's her face, Data's girlfriend.
Which one?
The annoying one
that I hated.
Which one?
From In Theory.
I know it was a joke. I knew who you meant the whole time. I was just saying that all of Data's girlfriends have been annoying.
But so I'm glad they turned her into a recurring character.
Nah.
And I kind of think she should have been.
The only thing you like about Yar is that she fucked Data.
I really wish that they had gone all the way with Roe and making her a series regular.
Yeah, they could have stuck her at Ops.
Here's the thing. So I know that in this episode, Michael Piller felt bad that he let Roe apologize at the end because it made her seem weaker than she is as a character. But also, they specifically paired Roe and O'Brien in their scenes on the bridge together because they were getting things ready and rolling for DS9, and they wanted Roe Laren to be a character on DS9.
Yeah,
and they were
really
playing it to see how they would do together as characters.
Why would she not want to do it?
Well, I honestly this is getting a little DS9-y, but I really I really like Roe's character,
who turns into Kira Nerys.
Right, and I would have loved to have Roe on DS9
instead of Kira Nerys?
No, well, that's the thing. I think it would have been a different show.
Yeah.
But I really love the character of Kira Nerys too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes more sense.
They're very similar.
For his liaison to be a Bajoran who's never been in Starfleet, because that immediately
Well, yeah, I think the dynamic would have been a lot different on DS9 if it had been Roe Laren, but I also think that they were able to do more stuff with Kira.
Yeah.
Point is, I love Roe Laren. I wish she was a series regular on this show.
Yeah.
Because, the women that we have...
see a bunch more of her, right?
We do. She's in a bunch of episodes.
Not enough for you, though?
No, because the women that we have really, Crusher's getting a little better, but poor Troy never gets a chance to be a proper character.
Oh, but we've got Keiko now, and she's got a kid.
And Keiko's...
So she'll never be a proper character.
No.
Keiko's not great either.
So the only thing I liked about this episode was Worf during the birth
Worf
scene.
was great, but it made me wonder, we're in 10 forward, which we're using as a temporary medical station. Why is Worf the only one who's helping her give birth?
Because he's apparently the only one that took that fucking EMT class.
I'm sure every Starfleet officer has to take that class. That's...
Yeah, but it's basically, let's be honest, it's just, again, it's funnier to have Worf there. Because he's gonna be like, this isn't like the simulation!
You should start pushing now.
Somebody else was like, I'm a doctor, so I can, and Worf's like, I am the ranking officer here! I carry the rank of lieutenant!
Like Troy.
He's waiting to see...
Is Worf above or below Troy in
He's
rank?
below Troy.
Damn!
He's only a lieutenant.
Well, it's because he keeps getting his ass beat by all those cardboard boxes.
Data, Geordi, and Troy are lieutenant commanders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Riker and Crusher are commanders.
Yep.
Worf is a lieutenant, and Ro is an ensign.
Yeah, no, really he's insisting on it just to see if it comes out with the ridges. Because if it does, he's gotta...
Yes, he's gotta hide that thing quick.
Gotta just make sure you swallow
Where's the finny tube?
I'm not ready to be a father! Again!
Oh God. Give it to my step-parents.
Yeah, immediately calls.
Oh no! Keiko,
Hello, Mr. Rozhenko. Rozhenko or Rozhenko?
Rozhenko, I think. But yeah, there was way too much happening in this episode.
Well, I think that's why I could only handle half of the plots. I
Well,
remembered part of it and discarded the rest. It was just too much.
The thing is, I liked all of the plots, and I think I wish there were a way that they worked together or they converged more, because Bev and LaForge in the supply room with the radioactive garbage and the fire.
That sounded a bit like Darmok and Jalad. Bev and LaForge in the supply room. Picard, his ankle broke. The radishes, strange, weird. Whatever.
Weird radishes.
I am. Yeah, if I was handed this script to rewrite, I would say I would cut the kids in the elevator.
Oh God, yes.
I would just have it so that Picard gets seriously injured on the bridge and is unconscious and unable to command.
Well, that's what happened in Final Mission, mostly.
Yeah, but now they're on the ship.
Fine.
Or just have him trapped in the elevator with...
Well, no, because I don't want that whole plot. Or maybe maybe it's Picard and Data that go on the trip to engineering.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would cut it down to only the Keiko plot and only the bridge plot, and then the
bridge between the two.
The engineering plot.
Because those do dovetail.
Yeah, and the engineering plot, really, was only two fairly brief scenes. It was the scene in the crawl space, which I guess was technically two scenes because they cut it, but it was a scene in the crawl space with the electricity, and it was the scene in engineering. So that wasn't a fully fledged plot.
Yeah, but as I was saying about the supply room, they're an entirely orphaned plot.
Yep.
Like those children should have been.
Yep.
Actually, they might be. Maybe the disaster killed their parents, and we just don't.
I hope so.
Wow! But then, they're gonna,
they'll dump him at the next Starbase.
They'll want Picard to be their
the
mom.
Rozhenkos.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
actually really like
Keeping up with the Rozhenkos. I really want there to be a spin-off of Worf's parents being everyone's parents.
Yes, they just have a collection. No, I liked the not Miles. Who was it? Geordi and Bev in the supply room scene. Even though it's entirely isolated from everybody else, it could have been a short, like the shorts that of the Discovery that were coming out. If that were a short, it would be great.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
It has nothing to do with the rest of the fucking plot, but it's really cool. And I actually got really invested watching them, with no air in the room and the place depressurized, as Bev and Geordi have to make it to a wall to press a button. And I'm there, tense, gripping the table thing, go Bev, go! Go Bev, go!
Although, clearly, I don't know who backed out of this Gilbert and Sullivan production she's putting on, but she is clearly desperate.
Yeah.
If she's like, Geordi, that's fine. You were completely flat, but it'll be great.
No, you sound great. You're
he was awful.
What is it? I'm
Modern Major General.
Here's the thing: is I can never actually
Pirates
remember
of
it because I think of
Penzance.
Morden from
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason they were in there was stupid, I think.
Yeah. No,
Were
it's
they
because
just-
there's-
That wasn't even the real reason. They
Because
were
there's-
making out back there.
There's never
that's fine.
there's never any good reason to get Dr. Crusher and Geordi together in the cargo bay.
I was gonna
no,
say, there's never any good reason to be a woman stuck in an enclosed space with Geordi.
Ew.
Ooh. So yeah, what was Geordi even doing in the cargo bay?
I think it's
Say-
obvious what
What
he's
engineering?
doing.
Yeah, was he
What?
balancing his checkbook?
Engineering? No.
I don't think he was balancing his checkbook. No.
Maybe, okay. Here's the theory. It's a stupid one, but it's all I got.
Well, as long as
She's been hounding him for like days about this.
for the dick.
No, about this fucking Gilbert and Sullivan thing.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, he found some pretense to go in there to work on a power coupling or something. And she tracks him down, and we just didn't see that. Where she bursts in and is like, oh, Geordi! And he's like, motherfucker.
There's no place I can hide from this woman.
Yeah.
So here's a question: how many people died
To get
on the
to
ship?
do
Yeah,
that.
because there was no response in engineering.
So there
all
was
the
no,
other
there was
engineers
no,
are dead.
there was nobody alive in engineering. Period.
Well, or the communications were just
No, because when
Where's Barkley?
when-
Is Barkley okay?
when
He was on the
Riker
holodeck.
and when Riker and Data's head got there was nobody.
My current data.
It was
set.
abandoned. So there
Actually-
was nobody left alive in engineering.
If Barkley is in the holodeck, I would really love that to be part of this episode so I can see what he goes through. Thank you.
It's mentioned that there are hull breaches because
Yeah,
that's
true.
why the emergency bulkheads closed.
And since they have no power, the little shieldy shields wouldn't go up.
The
How is citation ops?
life support was offline
ask.
for at least some of the time.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine that
Yeah.
there were
Many deaths.
dozens, if not hundreds, of seriously injured, if not dead people.
Because
that's
of
true.
Troy.
Because Troy ran over that deer in space.
Quantum filament.
Yeah, space deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, one of my notes was that this was like Murphy's Law, the episode. Like, everything that can go wrong will. Because it was like, okay, so you hit the quantum filament. Oh, and this was a result. And this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Awful butterfly effect.
Yeah, it was just like, it's too much. Focus. Calm down. No, we're doing this. We're doing with the children. And the Bev thing. And the other...
And spontaneous birth giving.
I mean,
It's like, oh god, and we're in the Jeffries tube, but oh Christ, coolant leak. Oh, thank goodness we dealt with that. Oh fuck, giant electrical doodly, what's it? It was like, come on.
well, let's see. So if you cut the
It
plots...
felt like
Not the doodly
when you go
was it?
through the maze and Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
Each room is a new disaster.
Yeah, I'm surprised a temple guard didn't just burst out from a hallway and
You
like,
have to have the golden medal
The
medallion.
medallion. Yeah, but you know what happened is they all got fucked in the Shrine of the Silver Monkey,
that's
because
what I was
that's
about to say.
always what fucking happens.
no, not the silver monkey. Push Keiko.
I always saw that those temple guards were really kind of
Violent.
handsy with the kids.
Right.
A little-
No, they
little-
clearly
little
enjoy
much.
terrifying the children.
But they also like grab them.
No, I was gonna say that's not what Jake was suggesting.
Like, I'm suggesting that they were... No, I'm not making anything sexual about it. I'm just saying I think they were a little too aggressive.
you know, there could
And maybe sexual.
there could honestly
Sexually aggressive.
No, but joking aside, creepy joking aside.
no.
There could be a real reason for it, which is like if you really grab them, they're less likely to like
Fall over and hurt
and
themselves.
flail over. Because like, be honest, even though they know
Every abductor knows that you have to grab them firmly.
Actually,
Wow.
they chloroform them.
Children have sharp nails, Chris. Sharp nails and teeth.
but you know what I'm saying? Like if someone
And kicking feet.
even if
This
you
is just taking a turn.
If you get the chloroform rag on tight enough, you can maybe get
Wow.
them down in one move. But
even if you know like that a temple guard could grab you at any moment, it doesn't change the fact that when it does happen, you're gonna probably naturally freak out a little. So it's like
Try to
alright,
run and
so it's like, yeah, you have to grab them because otherwise they might hurt themselves by jumping out of this fucking 2-story tall set.
I literally said that like 3 minutes ago. I said they could hurt themselves. Where were you when I
That's
said
what I was
that?
trying to get out.
Jake
How
was
do
making
these-
awful references, and that's where Jake
how do
Chris
these
was.
dumbass kids not know how to put the monkey back together?
I think it's just
It's stress.
finickier than it looks.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like we all say that, but I bet I'd fuck it up.
Here's the thing, okay? In my apartment, I have a
Squirrel?
dishwasher. No,
Is the squirrel still there?
If he's still there, he's dead.
Aw.
There was a day when there was an obvious scuffle had taken place because there was like He had
Between whom?
The cats and the squirrel.
Oh my god.
Someone had jumped onto my typewriter and fucked up some keys again. That's like the second time that happened. Was that just you in your sleep? Yeah, it's true. I was
You're off your meds apparently, so.
I mean, it's Adderall. I don't think being off Adderall makes you sleepwalk suddenly. Though I did sleepwalk a little bit as a child.
Oh.
And apparently I went into my parents' bedroom, or my dad and... It's not a creepy story. My dad and my stepmother's bedroom, and I had a...
Just farted right in their faces.
No. Well, yes, but that was when I was pretending to be sleepwalking. That was intentional. But, remember how, Burger King used to do, toys where if you paid, $3, you could get a thing? Do y'all remember that?
No.
It was sort of like...
Burger King is disgusting.
Well, yes, it is. It's absolute diarrhea food. It is the food equivalent of actual diarrhea.
Here's the thing,
and then it makes diarrhea.
Every now and again, it can't. Some of it can taste good.
Oh yeah, it tastes great, but it's gonna fucking.
The thing is, I've never eaten at Burger King and not felt like shit for hours.
I think
later.
Caitlin has two stories that we're telling, and one is the squirrel story, and one is the actual story.
Anyways, the sleepwalking.
It's like Inception.
I had Storyception. I had you know the pig from Toy Story?
Yeah.
I had that guy puppet that we got from Burger King for $3, and I had wrapped it in... This is in my sleep, keep in mind. I had wrapped it in what was my old baby blanket, because I had my baby blanket for ever, and I just liked it. I didn't carry it around like Linus, but sometimes it made appearances here and there. And I had wrapped it in this thing like it was wearing a cloak, and I snuck into my parents' room while they were there, standing there, asleep, and I started going through their closet trying to find my Christmas presents, apparently. And the thing is I do not remember this at all, so I must have been asleep, but they were like, no, you were awake. I was like, I literally don't have any idea what you're talking about. Anyway, the point is, there was an obvious squirrel-cat scuffle, and I don't know where the squirrel went, if it finally found a way out, because it was definitely it had been previously on one end of the apartment, above the bathroom, but this time it definitely went across, and it was in the other room at the other end of the main living area. So he definitely got around somewhere, and we have not heard anything from it since, so I'm assuming it found a way out or has died.
I prefer to think that rather than a cat or both the cats versus the squirrel, it was actually the squirrel and one of the cats versus the other cat. It made a pact.
Teamed up. It was like riding Phantom, some kind of battle stallion animal.
All right, now somewhere on the periphery of this story is the actual story, which was Guess What's in My Apartment?
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying now.
What were we talking about?
Doesn't matter. Back to the episode.
No, it does matter. I had a point, and now it's
Your
gone.
Your point sucks.
Wow. We are all being terrible to Caitlin this episode.
No,
I apologize.
I'm kidding.
It's all a hallucination.
We've gotten so far off track that we've lost sight of the goal, and the goal is Troy sucks.
Yeah, I didn't like this episode.
I like this episode better than I remembered liking this episode.
Yeah, I like all the individual plots. I mean, there are the children.
The children
like that. The children one I don't like.
I'm going to say this. So if you cut out the Geordi and Crusher plot and the Riker and Data plot. If you take those out of the mix, the whole episode is about people that are just out of their element.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that they're not accustomed to doing.
I don't know, Data's head went out of its element.
Yeah. Picard's having to deal with children.
It was so he could suck his own dick.
Troy's having to deal with command, and Worf is having to deal with a vagina.
A single vagina.
A single vagina that keeps getting bigger.
He's dealt with vaginas.
It's dilating so quickly.
That really is what giving birth is. It's a vagina that gets very big, and then something comes out of it.
Isn't it technically a uterus that gets really big?
I'm pretty
Doesn't
sure
everything dilate to push it
out?
Cervix.
Everything has to get bigger.
No, see, so it does, but it stretches. The vagina is built to stretch.
I understand that.
But what is actually getting bigger, i.e., dilating, as Ames just said, is the cervix.
Because the cervix is naturally very narrow.
Not today.
Anyway, here's a question.
Why are we talking about this?
I imagine I won't like the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When they do birth scenes in television and in movies and stuff, where do they get the baby? How the fuck do they do that?
They get it out of the they get it out of the baby
dumpster.
And
they put a new placenta on it?
So here's I don't
know.
That's
the umbilical cord you're thinking about.
I'm gonna speculate.
What's the difference between a placenta and
the umbilical cord is the thing that comes out of your belly button that connects to the placenta, I think, and that's where it gets the foodage. But the placenta is like a big green thing.
It's like a sack.
That they call afterbirth, and it's you pass it after
You were
birth.
right. You do hate this answer.
And guess what? Now. Some people eat the placenta.
I know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they just cover it in goo, but not a placenta.
Yeah, and besides which, that umbilical cord was fake. I mean, it must have been.
It was just makeup. But here's the thing.
Still, it's disgusting.
So I'm going to
it is disgusting.
It's okay to show a naked baby on
well, I didn't see its genitals.
Well, I hid under the blanket.
The vagina was covered with the cord when they showed it.
Yeah, the cord was acting as a
How do you know it was a
sensor bar.
vagina?
Because they said it was a girl.
Oh, but it still could have been a boy if you're not going to see the bits.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, thank God you didn't see the bits. Don't take that the wrong fucking way. I'm grateful. But yeah, I think as long as you don't show the genitalias.
To address your question...
Everybody's got nipples.
They show their butts all the time, and I hate it.
Oh, but baby butts are cute.
No, they're disgusting. They look like prunes.
Babies
to
all
address
look
your
like
question,
prunes.
I don't know, but to speculate, because I had thought about this, I'm willing to bet that there are quote-unquote talent agents that troll hospital maternity
close
wards.
to the recording dates?
Well, we're just like in general, because I'm sure there's always a demand for babies in Hollywood. So they probably
mostly for
they
their
probably
feasts.
just have flyers that they hand to newborn to mothers, new mothers that are like, if you want your baby, if you want to make $100, call us up and we'll put your baby on TV for, and a half a second shot.
Lend your baby to Star Trek.
All right, supplementary question that's also going to be disgusting and make me unhappy.
It's not a lend, it's a rental. Go ahead.
What?
A lentil.
I'm saying if they're not lending their babies, they're renting them.
Oh.
But go ahead.
When they do breastfeeding scenes with an actress who is not the mother of this child...
Sexual assault.
I think that's disgusting and awful.
Well,
but I think that's disgusting no matter what.
There's probably either
a fake breast?
Either a fake breast or a pasty or something.
It must be confusing and traumatizing for the child.
Well, they
why is there no milk?
And also, I'm sure, if ever you cannot see the actress's face, it's probably the actual mother doing the breastfeeding in wearing the costume of the actor.
Wow. So they got the mother involved as well. And her boob, specifically.
Yeah, why not?
Gross.
There was a breastfeeding scene in this one? I don't remember that.
No, I'm not saying in this. I'm saying when it reminds me of things that are disgusting about babies. One, that they're born, and two, that they breastfeed.
3, that I was ever one myself.
I often apologize.
Disgusting.
I often apologize to my parents for ever having been a baby, and they're like, "You couldn't have helped that." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe I could have, though."
I could have tried at
least.
I
didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
I love that when I say to people that generally I don't like, it's like, well, you were a kid once. Yeah, I had no choice.
Yeah. I would have hated me.
Bro, I know I would. I was a fucking jackass when I was a child.
I'm sorry, I'm just kidding.
I was a different kind
but
of
I bet you were very precocious. I bet you were one of those kids who, was too mature for your peers, so you did a lot of, talking with teachers. Because that's the kind of kid I was.
I was the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Right, speaking of kids who are the fucking worst.
Oh, God.
We would have been friends, though.
J. Gordon Grass, Patterson Supra, and Marissa Flores, winners of the primary school science.
Blondie's eyes were too close together. He was like an uglier Matt Smith that couldn't act.
He texted me to say that, specifically.
Awesome.
Radish Kid couldn't act.
Radish Kid was awful.
And
oh my God,
Girlface couldn't act.
The fake crying drove me so
That was
crazy.
super obviously 80 yard in later and sounded like too many children.
I was trying to watch which one of them was crying because it never seemed to match any of them.
They should have just stolen some candy from a child and recorded the sound and
That's
dumped it in.
what they did. What do you mean they should?
Yeah, that's why it didn't match the actors.
No, they should have just let Patrick Stewart berate all 3 of them so they were crying for real.
I bet he offered.
They should have filmed the scene and made them think they were actually trapped in an elevator.
Oh my God!
You know, they should have actually trapped them in an elevator with Patrick Stewart after he ate a lot of beans.
No!
And then just let him go to town farting.
Trapped in an elevator.
Yeah.
With Patrick Stewart's gas.
That doesn't rhyme at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to unpack on that whole plot.
What a fucking slap in the face to make that kid executive officer in charge of radishes.
Yeah, but he was so stupid he thought that was a good thing.
He didn't know what the fuck's going on.
I kept thinking, because he was being such a little twerp about not climbing the fucking ladder. I would have said to the kid, Patterson, whatever your fucking name is, there's a radish in peril. We have to go because it's your job.
So, fun fact, all the last names of the characters were the children's actual last names.
Yeah, there was one that was a letter off.
Is that really a fun fact?
No,
It's not that
it's tedious and awful.
So what was the deal, though? So when they were climbing up the shaft, I don't know if you guys picked this up on, they were singing
Frere
some
Jacques.
song in gibberish.
Yeah, it sounded like some dead language. I didn't really recognize it.
I really wanted to hear the song, The Laughing Vulcan and His Dog. That sounds like a great song.
No, it's a sad song.
No,
it ends with the Vulcan science directorate putting down the laughing Vulcan.
No, it's really about Spock's dog.
Oh.
Why were you thinking?
I was thinking you were going where I went, which is that it was actually about Cybok.
So, fun fact.
And the dog was, Voldemort.
I'm sorry, the dogs were sellouts?
Yeah.
Actual fun fact.
Stop. Yes.
A fan once asked one of the producers if the song was about Cybok, and they were like, oh, we hadn't really thought of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw
That's because people that fucking write Star Trek are not as big as Star Trek nerds as the fucking nerds watching...
Dog.
No, I know.
But he laughed a lot, and it
So
made it
Spock.
obvious that he was a Vulcan.
Well, again, like Caitlin said, the dog was
Voldemort.
the guy with the bad teeth on not Ruripente.
Yeah, no, Ruripente, that sounds right.
Eden or something. That shithole desert planet. The guy with the holes.
See, I like to just assume it was Spock and his Sellout when the Sellout dies.
Wow,
a
that's...
song.
It is a sad song, because of course it would be.
It's the old yeller of songs.
Also, when they were when they're climbing a ladder and they had that rope that, after
Oh,
Picard had them dragged,
Yeah.
pull the wires out of the elevator shaft, and they tied it around themselves, and if one of them slipped, you had the fucking rope, wires used as rope. You should have just had one of the kids.
Chekhov's rope.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah,
you should.
As I'm watching, what the fuck is this rope shit for?
Yeah, no, it really didn't serve a purpose. Narratively.
It was a climbing rope. Like, if you're climbing, you
Well, yeah, but they didn't
tether
actually
yourself.
have to use it.
But can you, in that case, that actually really would have sucked because Picard was climbing on one foot.
Yeah.
So if one of
And
those
the others are weak children.
Yeah, and if one of those kids fell, they were all going down.
Well,
Picard was ready to sacrifice himself.
See,
Which is
here's
stupid.
something that doesn't make
Yeah.
a ton of sense to me. I would think that in the event that there's a catastrophic failure of the elevator system, there would be some automatic safety system that deactivates the gravity in the elevator shaft.
Well, yeah, but all their power
That's
was
smart.
fucked. So if there even was a system like that, it probably wasn't
Wait,
working.
I don't understand. How would that work? Deactivate the gravity?
So it's...
Oh, so that you float. I'm an idiot.
the whole-
Sorry,
yeah,
I was...
so the elevator
Nope.
would just stay in place and you could just drift. I mean, the instructions would probably stay in the elevator.
But also, if all their power systems were down, the
Yeah,
gravity
shouldn't
probably
have-
should have
yeah.
stopped.
But
anyhow.
I don't think. See, the thing, I don't think the gravity requires power, or at least doesn't require a lot of power.
Yeah,
It
the
just
gravity
requires
always
lots of
works
apples.
on-
I mean, we know that the Klingon system does require power because
Oh, yeah.
one
in
torpedo
6.
can shut it down.
If you
Was
get
that
in the
from
right
6?
place.
Yeah.
When their purple blood was floating around? You just said 6, didn't
I
you?
did.
Sorry.
6.
I apologize. I did hear you, but I heard you in past tense after I'd already said
Yeah.
that shit.
And Picard's plan of, tell the kids, go up the ladder and wherever you find an open door, go in. Why would any of the doors be open? None of the doors would have been open because there was the turbo shaft was, not going to that floor.
Maybe at the top there's an emergency shaft or something.
Why would it be at the top? They have to climb all the way up? And what if there's I don't fucking know. Never mind. It makes no sense.
No. He just wanted them gone.
Ames is outraged. Leave me here to die alone. At least it'll be quiet.
Also, here's another thing too. Elevators today, I'm pretty sure the safety systems are redundant.
Yeah.
It sounds like there was a single safety system
And it failed.
and it failed.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be multiple redundant systems to prevent it from... when elevators malfunction today, it's a technology problem. Either it stops between floors where it's not supposed to.
With that episode of 6 Feet that's
when you
traumatizing.
get chopped in half.
Whoa! What?
It's just it was a TV show. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but...
What happened?
So the
Why are they chopped in half?
the elevator had stopped between floors and the people were trapped inside, but they managed to get the door open.
No!
And then
no.
one guy tried to climb out.
No! Don't
and then
do
the
that.
elevator started moving.
Oh, no.
Or the other thing is, the
It was really
door
gross.
the door opens when it's not at the landing and you walk into the open shaft, a la
Dr. Pulaski.
Diana Muldaur.
Yeah.
But very rarely these days do elevators plummet to the bottom of the shaft.
I mean, this one, even, like, they showed, when they threw fucking Jay Gordon, which is his preferred name.
Oh, I really wanted him to get a smack when he did that.
He crawls up there, and he says, do you see the couplings or whatever that are, holding the thing in place? He says, oh, yeah, but one of them looks a little busted. But there were, 8 of them.
Why would, I'm guessing there was only 2 clamps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm guessing the clamps are probably on the cab, and they're designed to jam into those verticals when it detects a fall. Yeah. But you would think, considering
they fell for a long time before that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because how many decks are there?
40 something. But again, they were coming down from depending on where they were.
Yeah.
Because they had just left the bridge, so they might have still been in the saucer section.
Yeah, I don't think there's any single place where you could actually, because of the way the neck is shaped, there's no straight shaft that's the full length of the shaft.
And if they were going to a hydroponics lab or wherever the fuck they were going,
they certainly were
that
going
would still
to
be
I'm sure they were in the saucer. So there's no
or the battle bridge.
If they went to the torpedo bay, he could just jettison
So
them.
it's probably
You're right. He was a fool to give up that choice.
It should be 20 stories, give or take, considering 10 forward is right at the middle. So it should be 19 or 20 stories.
Oop.
So that's a long drop, sure. But and that's only at the center.
Yeah.
So who knows? Point is, that elevator needed some serious service.
It hadn't been inspected recently.
Yeah, it didn't have that certificate.
that plaque thing in the
The other sad news, other than Picard had to deal with children, is this is the last episode that aired before Roddenberry died.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he'd gotten to see a better episode before he died.
He got to see the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Before it.
Yeah, Redemption 2 was good.
And I'm sure he saw some of the dailies or whatever from other stuff from
and then he saw a rough cut of Star Trek 6 and it killed him.
Yep.
But I don't understand why it killed him.
It didn't really. He just happened to die shortly after seeing it.
But, is there a reason why we think he wouldn't have liked it?
Well, I guess
women wearing too much clothing?
Him and the director argued very passionately about it after the screening.
He and Nicholas Meyer did not get along.
Even though Nicholas Meyer made better Star Trek than him.
That's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, this episode was there was just too much happening. I got really bored by the end and was kind of spacing out, except for when Worf
Were you overstimulated to the point that it just all shut off?
Like a cat?
No, I wouldn't say overstimulated, because I wasn't stimulated at all, but it was just there was just so much going wrong that it started to feel ridiculous. And I was just literally, I just kind of was I was staring at the screen, probably half comprehending, but whenever Worf was being ridiculous, I'd kind of snap to and be like,
he was definitely the best part. Him and Keiko were the best, which I never thought I would say that Keiko was one half of the best of anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was like that because he knew it was his kid.
That's right. So would you say that this episode was a disaster?
No.
Oh.
No, it wasn't that.
I think I said earlier, I remembered not liking this episode, but upon rewatch, I actually felt better about it. But at the same time, I think that they could have done with 1 or 2 fewer plots. As much as I do like the stuff with Geordi and Crusher, I think those could have been cut.
Yeah, you wouldn't have lost a thing if they were cut.
And I think
people would just ask I wonder where Geordi and Crusher were for this episode.
It almost feels
Who would ever care where they were?
It almost feels to me like they filmed this episode and then they're like, oh shit, we got 10 more minutes of airtime to fill.
Yeah.
Time to shove in some more plot.
We can't have Keiko screaming for this long.
Oh my god, did anyone else feel like it sounded like she was climaxing lunch? Thank you. Because I was like, what is happening? The beginning of contractions, and she's like, and I'm like, girl, that is sex, not birth giving. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. I remember way back when in Friday's Child.
The look on Chris's face was really good.
Oh, you knew what it was going to be.
No, he didn't.
I had no idea what was happening.
He was terrified by the prospect of what was going to come out of your mouth.
I was thinking about Friday's Child recently, which was the one in which McCoy births that child of that savage woman.
Does he slap her around a little?
That's the one he slapped around a little.
Oh, I love when Worf was like, I will slap the baby to induce breathing. No, but it was
it's changing color.
But wasn't it like a
yeah, no, it sounded like he went
it was like a very delicate little.
He's a very gentle giant.
He knows humans are fragile.
Well, it's because it's his baby.
Yeah, if he had slapped that thing, it would have smushed it.
Oh god.
I don't know. Pulaski wasn't that fragile.
That thing. No, Pulaski gave as good as she got, I reckon.
I will now slap the baby.
I'll say.
So there we go. Now we got
what do we have?
Baby O'Brien.
Ugh.
What's its name? Shaughnessy?
Molly.
Jameson?
I did love when they were talking about what they should name it, and Riker's like, we should name him William. That's a great name.
Yeah, no, we don't want it to grow up to be a fucking hornball, thanks.
Why not? It's the future.
I like to think that Worf at one point piped up was like, we should name him after his grandfather, Moog.
Well, I liked... Well, actually, what was interesting, do you notice that when they were arguing about the names at the start of the episode, O'Brien wanted to call him Michael, and he said, goodbye, Michael, right as he was walking past Worf, played by Michael Dorn.
Ha! I didn't think of that. That's funny.
There's your connection. Oh, did you hear about this new Star Trek cartoon show?
It's going to be made by the pickle fucking Rick Dick faces. I'm so upset. I'm like, why?
I mean, I
don't want Star Trek Rick and Morty.
I didn't think it was going to be good to begin with, but that
But
really
imagine how, like,
it.
Okay, if you need, like, 190 IQ to enjoy Rick and Morty, and you need, like, 160 IQ to enjoy Star Trek, you're going to need, like...
330 at least.
At least.
350, probably.
Only
wanna be
Stephen
safe.
Hawking could have enjoyed it, he said.
That's what I was going to say, too.
We need possessed Barkley to enjoy the Star Trek cartoon.
That is true. God,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting when we get to that in 5 years.
Boy. Anyway...
Every time we think we're done with this project, they're
Yeah,
going to keep
they
they
have
keep
another-
Well,
they
shit, because
announcing.
they're releasing 2 more shows.
They
We're
keep-
getting a
they-
fucking Picard and this animated shit. Plus, Discovery's got at least one more
And
season.
they have all these short, like
Short
the short
treks.
I'd
medley.
like Anson and Mount D.
They're just making more work
And then
for
we
us.
do have to cover the Orville.
At some point, yeah.
Well, I think we can do that in like 20 minutes.
Well, listen,
No, I think
we
it's a
owe
good
it to
episode
our
of the
tens of listeners to continue on with the
That's
Oh,
project.
I see we're up from ones.
Yeah, well...
What are our
let's
tens of listeners looking forward to from us next week?
Well,
Mike?
That was really
next
good.
week on A Star to Shear,
Start a shitter by.
a sheep shearing episode of
You've already done the sheep shearing joke.
Many times.
You have.
Well, it's just a star to steer
You
her
made the
by.
sharding joke too.
It's not a joke. It's that it's a hard thing to say. It's a hard title. It's a far better thing I do today than I have ever done. Anyway, so next week on our podcast, we will be covering. Actually, I mean, I guess you could say it's 3 episodes, but it's really 1 episode and then a 2-parter that will be cramming in.
Sort of
be a
like
heavy
how
day.
the writers of TNG did into this episode. With
Exactly.
The plots.
We're going to have multi-plot going next week when we cover both the game.
Oh, that's a good one.
The game.
Yeah, you'll get it when you hear it, Caitlin.
Is Keiko giving birth again?
Basically. Splash.
Oh no!
It's a water birth.
It's,
She's in a tub.
so we'll be covering the game, followed by unification, where we will have a return of some favorite characters who I'm very excited about. Actually, some favorite characters and some least favorite characters, I suspect.
Wesley? Dude,
Actually, next week is going to be... I think the title for next week's episode has to be Many Happy Returns, because Wesley's in the game.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
And then we get some other good characters,
That's not a bad idea.
several return characters in Unification.
What did I say we should call this episode? Yocasta and the Twerps?
What?
Something like
I
that.
don't remember this.
No, it was offline. Or rather, it was online. It was off the air.
Right. And Unification's a 2-parter. So.
It is a 2-parter.
So strap in. It's probably going to
Strap
be
in and
a
strap
3-hour
on.
episode.
'Cause we'll be
Who's
having...
getting pegged first?
And explode? What was
Gross.
it? What's that line from the Beatles song? Tune in, turn out. Something. Tune in, tune out.
That's
Eddie
not a
Do
Beatles
everything.
song.
Izzard says it in Mr. Kite.
In
the
his
film.
cover, yeah. It's like...
So technically it's a Beatles song.
Yeah.
Turn inside out.
All right.
And then
Yeah,
explode.
drop
Fuck
out
this.
is
We're
the
going to
end.
carry on here. But until next week, this has been A Star to Steer Her By. You can find more information about our podcast at Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr,
and our website, which we forgot to mention.
and our
last week.
website, SSHB
One of these days
Podcast.
you have to actually design that.
So check us out. Check us out online, on the internet, wherever internet is found. Cyber Cafe, the public library, high school
musical,
computer lab, college.
Computer lab?
College student center, maybe? I don't know. Wherever you find the internet,
Plain
you can
Wi-Fi.
find us.
on the JetBlue.
We don't talk about JetBlue.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck those guys.
So, yeah, you can find us out. You can also download this podcast and several others, I'm sure, on Apple iTunes and Google
iTunes.
Stop! Kingston and I are in sync today.
We're like a crystalline entity.
as
unto
well as
ourselves.
any other podcast store or tunes. Podcast tunes. That's, I think, all the good stuff. And, of course, if you do like us, share us around. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. And tell...
The Crystalline Entity.
And your frenemies.
Go tell it on a mountain.
Tell.
Over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain. A star to steer by is online.
Nice.
You had to make it about religion, didn't you?
Tell
War on Christmas!
Tell Shatner about it on Twitter. Maybe he'll listen and hate us.
Wait,
yes.
an important question. Will this episode go live before or after Thanksgiving? Because that was a Christmas song you just sang, and that shit's illegal before Thanksgiving.
Is it? Because I'm
Fuck
pretty
that
sure
noise.
a lot of
As
channels...
far as I am concerned, Christmas music is okay effective November 1.
Yeah, but
No,
it's not November
disagree.
1.
Well, I hate Thanksgiving.
It's,
so.
well,
I
as
hate
we're
Christmas.
recording this, it's
Well, I hate
October
Thanksgiving.
31, so...
So that was
Spooky!
that was,
This is your Halloween special,
a
everybody.
Hallows Eve song.
Luckily, no children are trick-or-treating anymore.
Bing bong.
Motherfucker! Who are you?
Anyway, I guess that's all I got. So, keep it real. My name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Push!
It's time to push!
I was just about to climax when Mrs. Johansson walked in. I had to hold it in. It burnt like a motherfucker. I was worried I'd broken it.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Based on true events? Question mark?
Possibly.
Yikes.
Oh, you don't know what my embarrassing masturbation story is?
Yes.
You
Definitely.
do? You know what it is?
No, I want to know.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say... I thought you said, do you want to know? The answer is definitely
yes. So, mine is...
Was Caitlin there?
I was at home. It was after school one day, and I was in my bedroom. I had a computer, and I was on the internet,
Nothing good
Whoa.
happens on the internet.
doing a little personal exploration of my penis. And
I thought
So
you...
into floppy drive.
so I'm sitting at my computer, right, and suddenly I hear
I'm sorry, hard drive.
the doorknob to my room start to turn, and I flip out, and like first thing I do is I pull myself all the way under the desk, like up to my chest.
You almost say nipples?
Yeah,
I feel like you were gonna say nipples.
higher than nipples. So I'm like sitting at the desk like this.
You're telling us a masturbation story. Keep it as sexy as possible. Say nipples.
I closed the window and I grabbed whatever was nearest to me on the table on the desk, which happened to be my checkbook. And into my room walks my two friends, two of my best friends.
Why were they in your house while you were
They
masturbating?
just dropped this was
It's a very
time,
good question,
and
Ames.
this was an age when we just dropped by at each other's houses unannounced.
Oh,
And
Jesus, you kids today.
My mom just lets them in, so they come in.
So they can watch me
they're
masturbate.
like, "Oh, Jake's in his room. Go see him.
Go see
so
him. He's masturbating.
So they're like, "What?" And they see me mostly under my desk with my checkbook in front of me, and they say, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just balancing my checkbook." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So like they're like, "All right." So they come into my room. My pants are down. They come into my room and they sit down on my bed, and I'm like talking to them, and they're talking to me, and I'm still in this really weird position. And like finally, after about 5 minutes of this, I'm like, "Hey guys, can I get you guys to like go out for a minute?" And they're like, "Why?" And I'm
They're
like,
like, why? We catch you masturbating?
well, and then I was like, "Well, because when you came in, I was jerking off, and
Did you actually say that?
my pants are down right now, so I'd like to pull them up." And they're like, "Oh." Okay.
Well, next time lie to us.
So they
Jesus.
left. They came back, and then so from that,
I'm surprised they came back.
From that point on, amongst my friends,
Balancing
the checkbook. that was
Why
the code
have I not
word.
ever heard this code
I don't
word?
know.
This podcast brings out the best in people.
That was the code word.
I don't
Balancing
know.
my checkbook is
I
what you say.
don't know what it says about you that your friends believed you when they said you said you were balancing your checkbook. I never knew a teenager
No, of
that
course
had a checkbook.
That's what's the most ridiculous
Yeah,
thing
much
about it
less
is that like
specific.
there's no question. Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah. Guess what happened at school today? Oh.
How are your finances looking?
Oh, sorry, we got drastically off course.
Well, it's Rennie's fault.
True.